This time, the allegations are against Louis C.K. The claims forcing the comedian to cancel a big movie premiere and media blitz that were scheduled for tonight. Trace Gallagher has the very latest from our LA bureau. Hey, Trace.
Hi, Shannon. The allegations have spread over several years and come from 5 women, including 2 female comedians who claimed that after a show in 2002, Louis C.K. invited them back to his hotel room and proceeded to take his clothes off and masturbate. The other allegations of sexual misconduct are similar. Louis C.K. has not commented, and his publicist says the comedian, quote, is not going to answer any questions. But Gawker published similar allegations in 2015, but the accusers' names were not named and the story failed to gain traction. Now, in the wake of the Harvey Weinstein allegations, the climate has certainly changed. But just like Harvey Weinstein, there are numerous reports that Hollywood knew and joked about Louis C.K.'s behavior for years and did nothing. Comedian Roseanne Barr says she was aware of the stories. So too were actor-producers Courtney Cox and David Arquette. But now the consequences are swift and severe. Louis C.K.'s movie premiere was abruptly canceled. An appearance on The Late Show with Stephen Colbert canceled. His show on HBO streaming services dropped. And FX, which airs another Louis C.K. show, is reviewing the matter. In recent days, actor Kevin Spacey has seen his career plummet after being accused of sexual misconduct with underage males. Netflix severed its relationship with Spacey, ending his show House of Cards, and director Ridley Scott is now reshooting his movie to replace scenes that featured Kevin Spacey. And just weeks after Amazon Studios boss Roy Price resigned over sexual harassment allegations, Deadline is now reporting that Amazon is investigating inappropriate behavior claims against Transparent star Jeffrey Tambor. In a statement, Tambor calls the accusations baseless. And finally, we should note that Manhattan District Attorney Cy Vance is now prepping a criminal case against Harvey Weinstein. Shannon.
All right, Trace Gallagher in L.A. with the latest. Thank you. Well, Senator Rand Paul's neighbor has pleaded not guilty to charges he assaulted the Kentucky Republican while he was mowing his lawn. Renee Boucher showed no emotion during the brief arraignment. Senator Paul says he suffered 6 broken ribs in the attack. Boucher faces up to a year in jail if convicted of 4th-degree assault. Later on after that plea, Senator Paul's office issued a statement saying this, quote, "This was not a fight. It was a blindside, violent attack by a disturbed person. Anyone claiming otherwise is simply uninformed or seeking media attention." We'll follow that trial. Well, tonight the Trump administration is facing a new green lash by environmentalists, and they are targeting former Navy SEAL, Montana Congressman, and now Interior Secretary Ryan Zinke.
So what happened to Ryan Zinke? He said he'd fight to protect public lands, wanted to be like Theodore Roosevelt. But since his Washington promotion, he's put our public lands at risk.
Well, Secretary Zinke, who will be making the rounds to honor war heroes this weekend, joins us now at Fox News at Night. It's an exclusive. Thanks for coming in, Mr. Secretary.
Great to be with you.
Okay, so listen, I've never had my inbox filled with so many alerts about an Interior Secretary ever in my time covering Washington. You got a lot of critics and enemies out there, so I want to put some of this out there and give you a chance to respond. We have those who say that you are increasing energy production on federal lands. They don't think that's a good use of our resources.
Well, I have to say that's true. We are producing energy on public lands. Absolutely.
And they think that it's harmful to the environment and not a good use of those lands.
Well, if you want to make our country not dependent on foreign oil, you know, I'm a former SEAL. I don't want to see your kids, my kids, have to go on foreign shores and fight for a commodity we have here. But we're going to do it right. We're not going to sell or transfer public land. But if you believe in the concept that best science, best practices, greater good in the longest term, then you're with the Secretary of Interior. But if you believe that public land is exclusive, only for the elite few that want to look at it, but, you know, I'm a public access person, and I think the public land should be available to America and the public.
Okay, which leads me to my next question then, because, you know, they're upset with you about the fee increases for some national parks as well. Let me read a little bit of a letter and give you a chance to respond. Saying this, the size of the fee increases you propose are by themselves a serious concern, but we believe it is especially problematic for your department to propose fee increases at the same time that the Trump administration is recommending slashing National Park Service funding levels and holding virtual fire sales of our public resources at below market value. There's a lot to respond to in that.
Baloney. The greatest bargain in America is $80 for a year-long pass of our public lands. Now, I face an $11.5 billion backlog of our public lands and our parks. And our parks are being loved to death. Everyone loves our parks. As a former military, there's two things we need to fund absolutely: our military and our parks. So come on, America, if you think that $80 all year, every park, all the time, by a carload is too much to ask, I mean, come on, it's our parks. So those that don't believe that we should invest in our parks, and our parks is not a Republican or a Democrat or an independent issue, it's an American issue. So come on, America, step up, go to our parks, enjoy them. They're great. They're the treasures that we all need to invest in.
All right, let me ask you about whitefish and give you a chance, because I don't know if you publicly responded to this issue about this small company from your hometown in Montana that was awarded a large contract in helping to rebuild and restore in Puerto Rico. Reports that your son at one point worked for the company.
Yeah, my son was a flagger, which he got a job by himself. He was out there, 19-year-old son, going, proceed with caution and stop. Now, anyone who knows anything, small town, we know everybody. I didn't have any influence, didn't have any knowledge of a contract. Puerto Rico was not in our interior. And those elitists that would think from being a small town somehow is a crime, shame on you. You know, in New York, you guys got all sorts of issues every day in New York. Whitefish, Montana, it's a great place. Come visit.
It is beautiful, by the way.
It is absolutely
beautiful. There's good fly fishing up there, too. By the way, did you ride your horse tonight?
You know what, I did, but I'm going to ride my horse tomorrow on Manassas. And one thing good about, or many things good about being the Secretary of Interior, is the U.S. Park Police are fall in the interior, and I get to go out, and tomorrow is riding the Manassas battlefield.
That is going to be beautiful. And also this weekend, you are a veteran, so thank you for your service to this country. You're also going to do some really special things on Saturday to mark Veterans Day to draw attention to the wider audience of our veterans.
Well, first thing in the morning is, of course, being at the Vietnam Wall and sharing some cleaning with our Vietnam vets. And the walls stand strikingly different than other war monuments. And then it's off the Korean War monument. We'll spend a little time in the World War II monument. Then, of course, go up to Arlington, visit John Wesley Powell's grave, who was a great naturalist, conservationist, the second U.S. Geological Survey director, and spend some time with our veterans tomorrow. Great day to honor the veterans who have served.
And each of those memorials and monuments that you talked about, they all have such a different feeling to them. Each of those wars and conflicts, for a lot of people, they evoke very different emotions, and they really are so different. If you're here in Washington and have a chance to see all of them, really different experience at each one.
They are, and you know, to me, I grew up, I was born in 1961, so I was too young to serve in Vietnam, but certainly the Vietnam War I saw through the eyes of a young boy watching Walter Cronkite at night. My older brother was of that age. And the Vietnam War Memorial is strikingly different than other memorials. And to many, the war is still unsettled. You know, it sits different, the black granite. And I was reading names, very emotional still today. And I think it's a great tribute of remembrance. That monument in particular doesn't symbolize defeat or victory. I think it symbolizes a remembrance. The World War II, very few World War II veterans around today, but you see them pay tribute. Fantastic. And the Forgotten War. My stepfather was a Korean War vet, and in many ways is forgotten. And that monument in particular, in the snow, it shows a squad walking slowly through area.
Packs.
Absolutely. They've done a really good job, exciting that the Eisenhower monument's going forward. To many, they're very excited about that. But this is a tribute to our great nation and being the steward of our greatest lands, our greatest treasures. Interior has 1/5 the territory of the United States, 12 time zones, and we also have the battlefields. And I would say, go out and visit a park. And
think of that also, because the one thing they all have in common, these memorials we talk about, is that we owe a great debt to all of our veterans, including you. Now I'm going to watch and see what shows up in my inbox about you this weekend, because I'm sure I'm going to get something. You're always welcome to come back, Mr. Secretary.
Well, thanks, I appreciate it.
Good to have you.
Thanks.
All right, after the break, the Democratic Party had a big night Tuesday. That's undeniable, winning 2 gubernatorial races, but they're still facing infighting and now a major identity crisis. Ahead, our panel takes a look at how an anti-Trump agenda might not be enough to sustain the Democrats through the midterm elections and beyond.